Hi everyone, we're Sammy Kuhn and Crystal Gordos, here to discuss the current tools used to monitor the long-tailed macaque. Long-tailed macaques are a species of arboreal, quadrupedal primates in Southeast Asia, whose populations are monitored for effects of habitat fragmentation. Here we will try to determine the best method for monitoring the species and focus on the safety of the animal, overall cost, and efficacy of the method. One of the most common monitoring methods for long-tailed macaques is the use of a GPS collar. This involves using a GPS tracker in a breakaway collar that is placed around the neck of the primate, tight enough to not be easily removed, but loose enough to not be restrictive, especially with individuals still growing. This method is cost-effective, can be applied without direct contact with researchers, and can be relatively long-lasting. This method also has many cons. This tool has a history of causing skin lesions and infections in some individuals. This is often magnified when collars are attached too loosely, allowing them to rub and chafe the skin. It can also negatively affect an individual's behavior or interactions with its group. Smaller collars with small batteries can die sooner, making them less effective for long-term monitoring. There's also a history of negative public response to collars being seen on primates. And long-tailed macaques are a species where human-animal interaction are common, so controversy is a concern. Thermal drones are an alternative for monitoring macaque populations. This consists of an unmanned aerial vehicle equipped with a thermal camera to detect heat coming from an animal. This method is safer, with no physical constraint for the species and no direct interaction between individuals and researchers. This method can be particularly effective for arboreal species that are difficult to spot in dense canopies. This method has a few cons. Thermal drones can be incredibly costly. One drone can be thousands of dollars. This method does have a detection error, as it's difficult to know from thermal imaging what exact species you're looking at. It also can be slightly difficult to fly a UAV through dense canopies without causing damage or failure of the vehicle. This method is only effective for short-term monitoring of a species and is not a good method for long-term monitoring, since you can only record what animals are at a place at a certain time and can't usually identify individuals. Furthermore, a macaque that spots a UAV can get startled and drawn away from their initial location. Another alternative is camera traps. This involves a camera, usually strapped to a tree or stand and equipped with motion sensors. The sensors record when movement occurs in front of the camera to hopefully detect an animal of the target species. These cameras can be very hardy, making it effective for long-term monitoring. They are fairly inexpensive compared to drones, with nicer models costing around $50 to $100. This method is also safe for macaques, leaving no physical harm or risk of behavior changes among a population. Here are the cons. These cameras have a limited detection zone, making them less effective at covering large areas than the drones. While they can be programmed to select for a target species, there is a significant margin of error, so flipping through non-target species is time-consuming. With primates being as intelligent as they are, they can be wary of an unfamiliar object and opt to not go near the camera. Finally, setting up camera traps takes a lot of time and energy, and researchers must troubleshoot camera issues at the camera site, which can be deep in the woods. We decided that the best method for monitoring macaques is the use of camera traps. This is because the camera traps are safest and least invasive, fairly cost-efficient, and most effective at providing accurate results without raising public concern. We can improve the camera trap efficacy by including thermal sensors and placing cameras strategically to cover both terrestrial and canopy locations. While all techniques have a chance of affecting behavior, correctly camouflaging a camera trap can greatly decrease this problem. Thank you so much for watching. We'd love to hear your feedback. Please leave any questions or comments below and let us know how we did.